Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and it is Thursday, my friends. So that means it's time for some Esperoba. We got to get some Jinzo builds. I'm going to do the first one. The first one is going to be the skill we'd used during our 3x tournament. We are going to use Intel from the Cosmos. Now, even an average player is going to play super well with this skill, and the reason is your opponent must reveal any card or cards that they draw during their draw phase. Now, as we all know, Speed Duel starts you off with what, like a 4-card hand, right? And then the first player obviously doesn't draw, second player does. But what this means is after the first couple of hands, you're going to know just every card that's in your opponent's hand, which is just a huge tactical advantage. It means bluffs don't work as well. So we are going to be using this skill first. Now, going into the main deck, we obviously needed to play as many Jinzos as we could play. So we are going to be playing 2 of our Jinzo. Just a quick recap: 6-star Dark Machine, 24/15. Traps and their effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all trap effects on the field. So, basically taking 1/3 of the game out of the game, which is fine. But then we need to make sure that we worry about that other 2/3. So we need to be able to get this boy to the field, and we need to be able to protect him. So first things first, let's make sure that we have some tribute fodder. Let's go ahead and use all 3 of our limited cards on the 3 side, since we used our 2s. So let's use our 3s. Let's just go straight up Cyber Dragons. Let's make sure that this deck is going to be able to overpower and mollywomp stuff. What's going to happen is if your opponent is the only player to control any monster cards, you can special summon this from your hand, which again allows you to special summon the Cyber Dragon and go straight into the tribute summon of the Jinzo, or of course just go with some more Machine Mayhem your own way. And then our last monster that we're going to use in the main, we're going to be using 3 copies of Reflect Bounder for obvious reasons. He's a big pain in the butt when you're playing against him, and this deck kind of deserves to be a pain in the butt. Before damage calculation, if this card is being attacked by an opponent's monster card and was in attack position at the start of the damage step, inflict damage to the opponent equal to the attacking monster's attack value. If you do, after damage calculation, destroy this card. So, if the monster is bigger, Reflect Bounder gets destroyed by battle anyway while still reflecting the full force of the attack. So, that's one thing. If the monster is smaller, Reflect Bounder will smack it down, throw the original attack of the monster back at the opponent, and give them the bounce back recoil damage. So, based on that, Reflect Bounder always does at least 1,700 points of damage because of that. So again, nice variable card, could help us put a lot of pressure on the opponents and may even stop them from attacking in the early game. Definitely can stop them from attacking mid-game to late game. Moving over to the spells, we're going to use 2 copies of the Cyber Energy Shock. So if you do control Jinzo, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Then if it was a trap, you can apply one of the following effects. You can either negate the effects of a face-up card on the field until the end of the turn, which is great if you're dealing with some crazy monsters. Or B, all Jinzo monsters that you currently control gain 800. Now you will notice it does not say till the end of the turn on that second one. That 800 would be a permanent. This will bring our Jinzo from 24 to 32, making it much harder to deal with. And again, I do feel confident playing 2 of these, even with the 2 Jinzos and no Allures of Darkness. It just is what it is. Moving forward, I do have a single copy of Nobleman of Crossout. Again, you can play test this interchangeably with Shield Crush. Shield Crush will do the same thing. But it will also include face-up defense cards. So if your opponent does something with like Waking the Dragon, yeah, you could Shield Crush a big monster that's in defense. Next up, 2 copies Night Beam. Again, we can't use Cosmic Cyclones because we have our 3 Cyber Dragons already in build. So again, this is just another instance where, Night Beam is a great card and we need to use it. And we'll probably see this eventually get onto a limits list. But this is more or less for like the quick play spells. If my opponent's waiting for me to attack with the Jinzo to hit me with the Book of Moon, if they're waiting for me to attack to hit me with Shrink, if they're waiting for me to attack to hit me with Offerings to the Doomed, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to Night Beam it. It can't respond. Okay, I'll say that one more time. I get my destruction without the card I'm trying to destroy flipping. If I'm lucky and I play this skillfully, especially with this intel, and I know which cards should be the being cards that are being set or put in defense mode, that Night Beam is stronger in this instance. And I did think about bringing this up to 3. I'll show you the card I thought about removing, but it just doesn't seem like there was enough back row in playtest to warrant a full third. So we went weird. Next card. I'm going to be using 2 copies of Shrink. Again, it's just, once you've got Jinzo, once you've got Cyber Dragon, it's so easy to pull off big monsters right now. Huge fusions, God cards. Of course, Shrink is not going to help you against Obelisk the Tormentor. That's what Reflect Bounder's for. But the Shrink itself will help against many cards. And it will make cards like Cyber Dragon and Jinzo and Reflect Bounder survive more often. Next card, and this is very cool, is the Solitary Sword of Poison. This is working its way into a couple more of my builds, especially decks where I see like I'm only going to have like the one monster most of the time. This will allow me to double over the monster's attack and defense during damage calculation so long as he's the only monster. You can only control one of this sword at a time, and if you do control more than one monster at a time, the sword also goes away. So again, that's it for the spell lineup. Now that's 16 cards. We need the last 4. We do want to play 2 copies of Mind Crush, because Mind Crush can stop something from ever being set. So because we see the cards going to the hand during the draw phase due to the intel from the Cosmos, we could save our Night Beams in essence, or we could technically, I'm pretty sure that this card does not actually target. So like if I see you add Obelisk, I should be able to call Obelisk, and we should be able to deal with him this way. Same thing with any other God card, whatever. But realistically, you want to play these before you get to Jinzo, because obviously we're not going to be running Amplifier. Amplifier is just even more weakness for Jinzo in the long run. And last card, we're going to round this out to 20. We're going to go ahead with 2 copies Psychic Shockwave. When the opponent activates a trap card, discard either a spell or a trap and special summon a level 6 Dark Machine from the deck. This just lets us put Jinzo directly on the field. It's a good card, great card, came from Battle City. And again, this allows me to play like I do have, 4 Jinzos. And makes it so like I'm not killing myself by having too many Cyber Energy Shocks. But at the same time, if I have 2 of these in my opening hand, I set 1, keep 1. And then I try to go about triggering one of my opponent's traps, which again isn't very hard, especially since I'm just going to attack kind of got nerfed to heck and back. So this is going to be more consistent, more reliable. Just real quick, guys, go ahead and either pause and take some notes or take a nice screen cap, and I'll be back with the side and extra decks in just a moment. All right, and we have exactly what you guys are thinking is going to happen from our extra deck. I play my favorite 6. My favorite 6 are not going to change until some other powerhouse comes along and takes one of them off the throne. I don't know which one will be the first one to leave. Each one is here for a very specific reason. Each one is a great technical play. But the side deck is kind of crazy today. So we are going to be using a single copy of Dahlgren. Dahlgren is going to be number 1, really good. 2, easy to board off. Remember, we do have the Solitary Sword. We do have the Shrinks. We even have the Cyber Shock. So it's not that there's no way to destroy this card once it's over there. But it is a matter of just needing to get something off the field so we can start making some plays. I do play 1 Lost Wind in the side still. Even though my whole goal is to play Jinzo, like the rest of this side deck is all traps. And the reason is, you're not always going to have Jinzo. There's going to be a lot of players that once they see this Esperoba card, they're going to go, okay, he's going to be playing some form of an aggressive control. Maybe I need to make sure he can't summon things. And, sometimes that's going to happen. So again, lost win, still very technical. You still get 2 uses out of it. I do have my third Mind Crush sitting here. I do have 2 copies Waking the Dragon in here, and this is still valid even with Jinzo. So let's explain that just half a moment. When this set card in its owner's control is left the field because of an opponent's effect and is now either in A, the graveyard, or B, banished, you can special summon a monster from the deck or extra deck. This means a couple of things for us. It means, number one, Jinzo's effect only affects card effects on the field. This is this isn't activating on the field. It's activating once it's gone off the field, and it's resolving outside of the field. So Jinzo's effects can't touch it. So if we have a back row and our opponent predicts wrong against us, we may still board a big fusion monster, or we can board the Jinzo just fine, and we can continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's good. And the other one, I just wanted to have a one of, and I could have went with Offerings to the Doomed, but I felt like Zoma was a great option here, because in the games where you're playing against something where you can't target it, i.e. Obelisk, I feel much better knowing that I have 3 Reflect Bounders and Zoma all under the same roof, knowing that my opponent is willing to, or maybe not willing to, but is going to take so much damage for me, just to try to get at me in my hit points. So this is my strategy. This is probably good in like a locals. This is definitely more of a funsy deck, I think. And then in 2 days on Saturday, I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a deck for the Machine Menace skill for you as well. We're going to be playing Jinzo a little more. So I look forward to that. I hope that you guys are as well. If you guys enjoyed today's video, consider supporting us. Like, comment, sub. These are all very easy things to do. They all take a moment. Maybe you've subbed. Maybe you haven't hit that notification bell. Maybe go ahead, turn those on. We've been having pretty consistently 2 or 3 speed duel decks a week, plus some weekend content. So we're trying to have some fun here. But that's it. That's it. Just go and enjoy your day. Tomorrow's going to be Friday, and then that means we're just that one work day away from another weekend. And then, you know what? We're going to have another great day. We're going to come back. We're going to make you guys another deck. So until then, my friends, have a blast. See you next time.